Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm gonna be giving you What If Naruto Had the Red Rinnegan Part 3. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, stay in tune because I'm gonna be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was a Godly Mage, so stay tuned for that and I hope you guys do enjoy. I already posted a new episode of What If Naruto Was Given a Second Chance, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Begin the intro. So the last part we left off, Naruto made his way to Spring Country. He didn't even have to talk, as he just watched, as his subordinate did the talk for him. As they made their way, the woman there, she had been experimented on and turned into a rather reptilian, a mixture, but more reptile. As the soldiers watched as their ranks was ripped through, Koyoke had gotten the report back. She sent one of the younger ones and a few of them with her back to Konoha to inform them about what is going on here, as Koyuki stayed behind the few of her guards who were going to stay out with her till the end. The door was then blown open, as all of Naruto's soldiers came in and lined up against the wall bound to their leader, but keeping their eye on the samurai and Koyuki. Naruto made his way, as Koyuki felt something tighten around her throat, as she tried and talked in a rather disrespectful manner. Naruto made her stall and felt true fear, for her to understand that he's in charge here now, as he gave her a scroll to sign it, as they will be taking Spring Country. Koike could do nothing but accept because she had nothing that she could do to stop him right now, as the boy was rather arrogant and smug about it as well. As Naruto headed off, making his way towards the water country with his soldiers already in line to take the country from the water daimyo, as he made his way towards a hidden mist, going towards Sparring, he was attacked. As Naruto hadn't fought in a long while, so he decided to start his legs. Facing off against Mei Terumi, she actually thought that she stood a chance, but Naruto could have crushed her any time, but he just wanted to play for a while. As Ayo and Kojo got severely beaten, as Naruto then showed her the power that he possessed by crushing her down into the ground like she was nothing, making her recede and told him, yes, she gave up, seeing that Kojo and many more of her people were going to die, as all of them were lined up in the city, all the siblings and all the ninjas. As Naruto told her that he's in charge now, the water daimyo was signed as well. As Naruto contacted all of his troops, they were going to have a party at the Sakai Kingdom. Yes, as all of them were happy in the other line to hear that. As the three then made their way back at Konoha, Minato received the report, as when he heard about the Rinnegan that the person possessed, and hearing that the people could fly from the Sakai Kingdom, he wondered who it was. Meanwhile, the Akatsuki base, two of them, two Akatsuki spies, their identities unknown because of the shadows in the cave, were working for Naruto, as he got intel that Sasuke Uchiha has left the village to search for his brother Itachi Uchiha to kill him. He faced off against Minato Jr. and stabbed him 2 times with a Shidori. So he was currently in the hospital, recuperating right now. But these two, they were indebted to the Lord Naruto, working for him, spying the Akatsuki. It goes to show that Naruto had people everywhere. So yeah guys, that was basically that's what left off. You guys can switch across the place and check out for yourself. So, what do you say we begin this new episode? Junior said a voice. Junior was currently looking over a scroll before he turned towards the pink-haired girl beside him. He then looked back towards the scroll. An old report his father allowed him to have on Minato's failed rescue mission of his other siblings from the mysterious kidnapper. Yes, said Junior. As he looked at the amount of details his father put in the report, when his two older siblings were captured to the exact shoe size of the person. As he found it rather strange. Yes, on that mission where he lost his two siblings. As this was a report that his father had written after he came back. I was thinking of having a team dinner at my place tomorrow. Mom said that she wouldn't mind, as the girl was blushing nervously, as Junior was currently sitting down in a tree as she looked up at him. Kakashi Sensei went on a mission but you and Sai are still available. So, what do you say, she asks. Sure, tell your mom to make a lot of ramen please, said Junior. The girl pumped her fist to her side and quickly straightened back up when Junior looked down at her, his blue eyes analyzing her for something. She then looked around. Where's Sai? I need to tell him what and what not to say when he's around my mom. Junior unrolled the scroll a bit. Right behind you. Sakura yelled in surprise as she moved away from Sai who was behind her. Your detection skills need work, said Junior up in the trees. As Junior still looked back down the scroll, he had read the scroll over 1,000 times now, as he knew exactly who went on the mission. His father, the fourth Hokage, Ibiki Marino, Inoichi Yamanaka, and finally Mobuki Haruno, the mother of his pink-haired teammate, who was busy yelling at Sai. Junior was not able to talk to the woman. She was a former Jonin shinobi, and she had turned a civilian. But this was good. He was going over to Sakura's house, and he couldn't let this opportunity pass, so he could get some more information on what really happened. Because this all seemed just too off to him every time he read it. I don't know how you could hear me, Sai said. I've been standing behind you for a whole 10 minutes. Sakura punched him right on the head. You almost gave me a heart attack, you idiot. As the two bickered on, Minato Namikaze Jr. knew that his father resented his older siblings. That was obvious. Naruto and Naruko. That is what the names were. That is what Minato said. As he had their face scratched out of every pictures. And their birth record was taken out of the hospital. It was in the Hokage's personal possession. Away from the prying eyes of the general public, but not away from the eyes of him. Junior knew that they were the holder of the 9-tailed fox, one for the soul and one for the chakra. He knew that despite his father always ordering to give up his investigation on finding them, everyone in Konoha, even the ones that went on the mission, saw the kids as the nicest and cutest you would ever meet, while Minato called them vile beasts that should slowly be eaten away by termites and worms. And he was the one who led the retrieval team. That is why Junior finds it so strange. Yes, really strange. As Junior was exposed to the people mourning the twins' death, since he could understand what was going on. It was not something everyone knew, but from he was younger, Minato was putting him through a grinder, having him exercise from sunrise to sunset, over and over again. 10 years of forcing to be living up to his father's expectations took its toll on Junior's body, and also his mind as well, especially his personality. Sakura dusted off her shirt. Hey, shouldn't you ask your dad before you come for the team dinner? He wouldn't mind, said Junior. Their team was on a break because Junior was still healing from his wounds from fighting a few days ago. When he went up against Sasuke, his ribs were still sore, and the fracture on his collarbone had healed up. The only problem was the itchiness of his bandage, as he had on a white jacket right now, that the chest part was open up, and the bandage wrapped around him. Are you sure? Sakura said. Junior jumped out of the tree. As he landed, come on, let's go see Sasuke, he said. Sai got off the ground. Why? He asked. I want to look through the Uchiha records on something personal. During his investigation, Inoichi Yamanaka had let out that Itachi and Shisui Uchiha was once the twins' caretaker. As Junior wanted to know who his siblings were, if there was a small possibility they were still alive, and gain some closure for his broken childhood. After watching the interactions between Itachi and Sasuke before Itachi defected, and how close some other siblings were, he wanted to have that feeling as well. No matter how detached he was and his personality was, he still wanted to understand what it meant like to have real siblings and persons who love you. People said that the twins were lovely and they had love in their heart to spare, but everyone stayed out of their way because of his father. How are you sure that he will let you? For all we know, he's still pissed off that you brought him back, said Sai. Well, we'll just have to see, don't we, said Junior, as he spun around on his heel and make his way towards Uchiha compound. Time skip, a few hours, the Sky Kingdom. Majai rushed down her apartment as she was wearing a white and black skirt with a red and black long sleeve without her usual backpack, as her hair was tied up in a ponytail as she kept on adjusting as she ran. She stopped at the bottom stairs, her eyes quickly looking around, and made sure that the furniture and everything was in place before she moved out of the house. She pulled out her sleeves and clapped her hand as the armor on her body then disappeared, out of sight. Even though it was there, she couldn't feel it, much less see it. as her metal boots changed into white sneakers and deep red socks. She exited her house as she saw people moving about with smiles on their faces to other parts of the kingdom to see more of the kingdom-wide festival. As she looked over towards her porch where a woman was sitting there, she looked rather unresponsive and rocking in a rocking chair. She made her way towards the woman and kissed her right in the forehead, but the woman did not move. I'll be going over the festival, Granny, she said. The woman only inhaled and exhaled. A friend from the medical division will be coming every once in a while to check on you. She tried not to let her spirit drop when she got no reply. The woman that she referred to as Granny was once her cellmate during the days in sound. She had been tortured into a vegetable state by the sadistic snake summoner. Karen had made it her job to fix what Orochimaru caused. But the cure was slowly arriving because they find it hard while to find out what was wrong with her. She then heard her name be called as she looked up to see Nirvana, who was dressed in bright red khaki pants and a black sleeve hoodie shirt with her metal boots now in the form of white sneakers like Magi, as she was with Nora as well, the head of the Scout and Retrieval Division, as Nora was in a white mask wearing a jumpsuit with red and black trainers. Hurry up, shorty, said Nirvana, as Nirvana did a double take when she noticed Magi, Granny sitting there. Oh, and good morning, Granny. The woman didn't reply, but she knew why. As Magi went over as the three females ran out of the district together. As they got through, they had to move through the huddle of Sakai Kingdom people who were playing games and having fun all around. They looked her in wide eyes. This party was going to last for 7 days for them to enjoy. As they made their way towards where large stuffed animals was, it was a game. The game was very simple. Use a purple rubber ball to lay down a tower of 11 bottles. As Magi looked over to see a girl jogging over a boy. Hello. As Nora waved slightly. I see you like stuffed animals. No, not really, he said. I just want to try all 3 games before the festival is up. As his guardian paid for 3 balls. As he took the balls, as he closed one of his eyes before focusing. As he threw it and knocked 3 of the balls off before smiling. Oh, I'm sorry, he said. Did you want to have a go? My name is Magi, she said. Oh, you can call me Gingy, he said. And this is my friend, Gema. The woman nodded to them. So, do you want to try? As he tossed a ball to her, which she caught. Don't worry about pain, Gema here working the palace. And, I just got in the academy. He said it proudly as he puffed out his chest. The woman looked at him, as they were just, smiling at his attitude. Well, they were platinum ranks, after all. That's nice, said Magi. As she smiled at him, she was far above ranks with him. But it wouldn't be good for her to just bring down his spirit like that. So, how old are you, Gingy? 16, how about you? As Magi pulled back her hand before throwing the ball, as he knocked all of the bottles down. I'm 15, she said. As she pointed at a massive purple salamander, the man gave it to her as she took it and squeezed it, hugging it to her body. Gingy took the last ball as he threw it towards another pyramid of bottles, as he knocked them down. As he narrowed his eyes towards the animals. That one, he said. As he got a purple scorpion. Why a scorpion? I have an uncle in the army that likes scorpions. I mean, he really likes scorpions. Oh, said Magi. Well, see you later, Magi, said Gingy. As he was about to run to the next game stand where people were standing. Would you mind if we tag along, said Nirvana. How about we test our strength over there? As she motioned to one of the games that test strength. As you have to lift up the mallet and bring it down to see how far it would go. I don't think I'm strong enough to carry that thing. Wait, if you win, I'll be your slave for a week. Why do you want me to test my strength so much? Don't listen to her, said Magi. She gets impulsive when she's hungry. As she looked at Nirvana. No, I know that look, said Gingy. She thinks I'm an imposter. I didn't say that, Nirvana said, trying to get the boy to calm down, as he caught on so quickly. You don't need to say it, he said. As he looked at her. Well, it's just that you look like someone I know. That's all, said Nirvana, as Gingy then smirked towards her. Nirvana's eyes went wide. My lord? No, the name is Gingy, he said. You must be confusing me with someone else. As he saw many more people walking around, so to not get them alerted that he was here. You didn't know? Nora whispered. I did, I just wanted to confirm. As Magi tried to keep herself so she wouldn't faint. Do you want to tag along with us? Gaming always want me to be around friends. As he handed the stuffed toy to his disguised maid. All the king royal guard had been on their break that Naruto ordered him to go on to celebrate the festival. So he did not have any gold ranked soldiers following him. Just his combat maid, Shinigura, who was wearing a black wig and put on something more casual so to not draw attention. And Naruto had a purple wig and black contact lenses to not show his godly Rinnegan. as he drew the line on to apply makeup, seeing that hiding a genjutsu might draw the attention of a few people, especially the soldiers that spend most of their time learning about genjutsu. The females fought the urge not to bow to their master as they saw that he was in disguise to hide his rank. "Yes, my lord, I mean, Jinji," she said, as they made their way to an alley. Naruto sat down and closed his eyes. "You have questions," he said. Yes, they had a lot. "Why are you in disguise, my lord?" asked Nora. "Is your life in danger?" Jinji, Naruto corrected. "And no, I want to truly enjoy this festival, without worrying about being bound to. Left and right, I will be fairly busy after this festival. So, the first day I might only get a chance to relax is now. Why not pose as a higher rank official, rather than a new academy student," said Nirvana. "I just felt like it," said Naruto. "Sir, no, Jinji, if I may. I do not think that is proper for one such as you to walk around without proper protection," Nora said. "Are you assuming that we have an assassin after my head in our own home, among my own people?" No, she stuttered. "I did not mean to assume. Are you saying that if anything bad happened, and that is a if, that my police officers are not able to contain it?" "Sir, she started to stutter. "Are you saying that I don't have the ability to protect myself?" As he turned towards her fully, making her fell to her knee, in a show of respect as she placed her hand over her heart, "that after everything you have seen me do, without lifting my hands, that you are still concerned about my security, that I need it all the time," he said. The fact that he spoke in a low voice that was so calm made it even more chilling. There was no force on their shoulders. There was no bloodlust in his voice. He did not even glare at them. He was just simply looking at them. "That my servant Shinigami is not fully capable of defending me if I ask her to. My apologies, my lord Naruto," she said. I stepped out of line. It won't happen again." "It's fine," said Naruto. "You are just looking out for my safety, but I would prefer it if you do not think of me like some sort of regular daimyo who's heavily dependent on others to defend him. You are not a grounder, sir. You're the great king of the Second Kingdom. The great and the mightiest king anyone's ever seen and will ever see." Nirvana piped up, as Majai bobbed her head in agreement. It's fine, Naruto said. "But when I'm in this disguise, I am Jinji, the academy student, understood?" "Yes, Jinji," they said. "Well," said Naruto, "I think this is more than enough talk. Go and enjoy the festival. Do you mind if we accompany you?" Majai asked as she watched her king hopped off the dumpster, as he dusted off the back of his black pants. As he looked towards her, "So that we could enjoy the festival with you, I mean Jinji," she said. "Fine, try and keep up," he said, as a smile spread on his face as he came out of the alleyway with Gamey, still holding on to the stuffed scorpion that he had won, as they had to push their way through the crowds, following behind the king and enjoying the games that was around. It was all a blur of laughter as they chased after their king, as he rushed from game to game, food court to food court, as he was smiling and having fun, as Gamey ate 10 hot chili peppers, making everyone shocked when she smiled. The man thought that his peppers were defective. As he ate one of them, his face became red as all of them ran away laughing, as a man accidentally groped Gamey. Well, he did it on purpose, making Jinji want to go into a fist fight with him. But Majai and Nora quickly intervened because they didn't want the king to lose his cool, even though he was having fun. They then ran into Satoshi and more as well, as they recognized the king in his disguise. But they went along with it, not knowing what he's doing. But they still gave him the respect as their king. "Hey, Jinji," said Satoshi, as they have been walking for a while. "Would it be alright if I went to go and see Hamato in the soldier division? We have some important things we need to talk about. Is it something I need to be aware of?" Naruto asked. "Yes, tomorrow," said Satoshi. Naruto motioned for the man to come closer as he whispered in his ear. "Please do so. I would like if you and Hamato report to my office with Indra. I have a request." "Yes, Sir Jinji." He then melted back in the background and vanished with a crowd of people going off. As the night went on, Naruto became quite tired of having so much fun, and he saw everyone start to get clear out for the first day, so he decided to went back to the palace. Time skip. Naruto slowly opened his eyes as he tried to get up, but he felt weight on his chest. As he looked down and blinked twice when he saw a white head snuggling close to his chest. His eyes looked over to his right and there was a mop of rainbow color hair, and to his right there was mint green hair. All three females moaned entirely when he shifted his arms, making him realize that he had them wrapped around their shoulders, pulling them close to him under the thick blanket. He breathed as his finger twitched as they were lifted up in the air. As he levitated up a little, his control over gravity pushing them back down to the bed, gently while he levitated up. As he landed on his feet silently, sparing a quick look to the girls before he went to his bathroom. As he passed by the mirror, but he stopped as he looked into the mirror. His red hair was all frizzy and all over the place. He had many red kisses on his face and his chest, going straight down, as he had a crazy night with few of the women that he trusted. This trust was then to keep their bedroom relationship a secret. It wasn't the first time that he had invited more than one female into his room, and with his almost insatiable Uzumaki libido, it will not be the last. It was good that he didn't ask just any random woman, but people who had swore an oath to the secrecy. Mainly people that were close to him in the office. Shinigami was the one that usually partake in the nightly and even daily ramp in the bedroom, but he had sent her out on an errand in the kingdom as they reached the palace. As he went in the bathroom, sometime later he stepped out with a towel in his head. As he passed the bed with the girls laid on, Nirvana, Majai, and Nora, as he put on a short red sleeve shirt and pants, with his obsidian armor on as well. As he opened the door and walked out, his maid closed the door right behind him to make sure not to show and expose the woman sleeping in his bed. Indra and the others are waiting for you in your office, she said to her king. As Naruto nodded and went up the stairs, replying to the greeting of the workers that dusted down his furniture. Outside, the kingdom was already awake and ready for another day of festivities. The door was open as him and Shinigami went inside. Office had a well-carved hand-carved desk in the center, with the walls being painted in gold and white, and the ceiling was a beautiful red color, and there was a red carpet as well. The entire wall was a giant window showing the kingdom. It was not really filled by Naruto request, only till he decided what to fill it with. Indra, head of frontline soldiers, Hamato, head of intelligence, and Satoshi, head of rescue and support, was in there. As they stood at attention in front of his desk in their combat uniform, as Indra had the head cleaver on his back. Before we begin, Naruto said to sit down. Satoshi, Hamato, as Hamato was the first one to speak. Before, we were discussing on what you want us to begin on in the last meeting in the office. Yes, Naruto remember, as they were talking about what they want division head to begin on after the festival. He also assigned specific functions to specific members. To the two heads, he gave them the task of watching over the country that he already conquered. He told them to go on. Our tracking ship tells us that Madam Koyoki is currently meeting Kakashi Hatake as the man unsealed a scroll from his palm. This is what they discussed so far. Do you want us to have Kakashi and his team taken care of? As he gave the conversation, manuscript Naruto as Naruto opened it. A smile came on Naruto's face as his Rinnegan was shining brightly. Perfect. As he handed the scroll back to Hamato. That is exactly the message I want Konoha to get. Speaking of messages, as he pulled out a drawer, he went through some papers before pulling out one single paper. As he gave it to Hamato. Have that sent to all of the leaders of the countries and the hidden villages that we have yet to conquer, including Konoha and the Fire Country. Make sure you assign their respective leaders, not just generally assigning them. I want them to feel like I'm talking to them personally. If I may, my lord, said Indra. Yes, said Naruto. Do you want them to wait for a reply? No, I made sure to have every possible outcome of them reading the letter made for them. If they choose wrong or right, it's up to them. I want a squad of silver ranks, interrogation, and intelligence to deliver them. They are best at sending out information and they should be able to defend themselves if things get rough. But I doubt they will be detected. I'm honored by your thoughts, my lord, said Hamato. Don't worry about it, said Naruto. Now, I am sure that you are all aware about the exact details in the detailed agreement scroll. As they nodded, that means each daimyo and village head are allowed to give as much information as they want to the others, but they are not to help any revolt against my leadership. That means the ninjas from Konoha that you have reported are not to be attacked, and this goes for Spring as well, until they give ninjas the aid in a revolt. Though I'm sure that Koyoki has read the detail in the agreement. Understood, sir, they all said. Do you three know why, Naruto asked? Yes, sir. Just so we don't have any confusion in the air, can someone tell me why I want the world to know about us before we strike? As Hamato spoke on behalf of the others, the Sakai, force, individual, strength, technological, seal, and medical advancements have given us a big advantage over the others. If we were to march in with all that we have, they would have no chance and submit too quickly. And we want them to prepare as much as possible, so after we defeat them, they would realize that no matter what, the Sakai Kingdom will always be great. Exactly, said Naruto. As he turned to Indra, will you be free by noon? Yes, sir, said Indra. What is it that you want me to do? I want to have a quick spar to see if my skills have dulled. They have not dulled, said Indra. As he momentarily lost his cool, His king wanted to fight against him. That was panic for him. As Naruto waited for the man to relax. It's just a quick eye and body check. Do not worry, I will not go overboard. Push those schedules and meeting down to the evening. I want that spar as soon as possible. I am humbled that you want to fight me, my lord, the man said. You may all go, Naruto said, as they bowed and left his office. Shinigami, I have a mission for you. What is it that you need, my king, she asked. I want you to personally contact my spy in the sand, to see if she would need help taking care of the sand siblings. If the sand decide not to submit. You know of her pride, so if she insists that she doesn't need any help, stay, regardless. Do you want me to have another maid work in my place while I'm gone? He nodded as she bowed as she left to get ready. An hour later, Hokage's office at Konoha. Minato rubbed his forehead. Kakashi and his team must have reached Spring by now. As he walked past the assistant, who waved at him as he greeted her. As he made his way in his office, he noticed there was a letter on his desk. He looked around, narrowing his eyes towards the windows. Everything seemed calm and nothing out of place. He pulled out a small scroll with white patterns on it as he threw it towards the scroll on the table. The scroll then burst into a poof of smoke. A minute later, nothing. It was a low-level wind jutsu that blew the breeze, but no traps, nothing was on that scroll. So he made his way towards it and saw 2. Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage of Konoha. I am Naruto, the king of the Sekai Kingdom, and the leader of the Sekai forces that successfully invaded Lightning, Spring, and Water Country. If you are not aware about this fact, you may go and inquire about them. The daimyos and Kage can give as much information as they want. Those 3 countries, all respectable foes in their right, were no match for my country. They all fell in 2 days. That means I invaded 2 countries in 1 day, and the third was a few hours after sunrise. If this is not enough to convince you of our might, then you may ask the daimyos and the Kages of the place that I have conquered. I am certain they will tell you of easy how I took them down. And if I am correct, then Spring Country will have video surveillance, because I made sure they weren't taken out as I walked in. My orders are simple. If you don't wish to be trampled by me and my soldiers, then unseal the fealty agreement in this scroll. Then sign it, but if it's shredded to pieces, then I will immediately be notified. And your country wishes not to pledge allegiance to me. But if it is signed, I will pass by in 6 days to collect it. Not signing at all and just leaving it would be an act of defiance. And I will see fit that everything is destroyed. Do not forget all the life you hold accountable for. And if you refuse to pledge allegiance to me, I will come here myself and show you why I am the king of the Sekai Kingdom. I will give you 6 days to decide the fate of your people. The fate of your people lies in your hand. Lord Naruto, the scroll ended. Minato clenched his fists. So, you're still alive, you little piece of dog shit, he said. Like hell I would submit to you, as he started to unknowingly release pure killing intent, as he ripped the letter into pieces. I'll kill you myself, he said. Time skip. Kakashi was currently in the spring, as he looked over towards the 4 that was following him. Go and gather information and meet me back here in 30 minutes. They saluted and disappeared to ask the people of the country details about what happened in their own perspective, so they could compare notes. There was a large flag that was all the major changes that was from this new kingdom that took over. It had a deep red background with the country for sky written on it in golden strokes. As he made his way, he saw that the main door seemed like it has been blown off, as they were refortifying it. As he entered the palace, ignoring the workers, as he went towards a woman sitting on a throne. Koyuki had her eyes closed, a sad frown on her face, as she still had remembered how easy her guards were dispatched. She opened her eyes and she heard a polite cough. Greetings, Lady Koyuki. I am Dog of the Konoha Envoy. The 4th Hokage sent me here to see if your country still need help fighting the Sakai soldiers. Just you, she said, raised eyebrow. Several squads of my comrades are stationed outside the country. Regardless of that, it's too late. They have already gone. Lady Koyuki, if I may, said Kakashi. As her finger twitched, tell him to continue to speak. Can you tell me more about the Sakai forces, so we can better know how to defeat them? As she just looked at him for a few seconds without saying anything. As she sighed, they cannot be defeated. The only reason my messenger reached Konoha is because your king was merciful and allowed it to happen. As her memory went back at the almighty king at the army of monsters. Their king, he was able to crush the heads of 3 of my guards without nothing but a thought. She pointed around her neck where a thin, red line was. He did this to me without even coming near me. Lady Koyuki, this all doesn't mean he cannot be killed. He's still human. No, he's not. None of them are human. None of the soldiers. I don't even believe that the civilian of the Sakai Kingdom is humans as well. I'm sorry, man, but we still need information. Can you tell us what you know about the Sakai King? He said that his name is Naruto. Naruto? Kakashi blurted out. As Koyuki narrowed her eyes. Are you familiar with that name? Can you describe him, please? He had red hair and pale skin. It's like he wanted to express himself more. I saw it on his face, but he did not know how to. I know this because I'm an actress. She then snapped her fingers. The secret cameras are still working inside the palace. I think he didn't know about them. As a boy ran up to his daimyo and presented her with a handheld flat screen. She thanked him and she tapped the screen twice he headed off, as she swiped across. As she gave Kakashi the device, it was a video recording from all four corners of the ceiling. As Kakashi watched as the door opened up, all the things behind it moving until it was blown open. And then all the soldiers came in, and then Kakashi's heart felt like it stopped when he saw the red-haired boy. He held back from stumbling over as he saw each step the boy took shake the building, and the guard had exploded by just him walking near to them. Koyuki then started to struggle to breathe as an invisible force started around her neck. The guards tried to attack him, but they were all killed by a kunai to the back of the neck by his other soldiers. As Kakashi watched the interaction between them, and Naruto giving her the scroll. He was telling me that he knew about my message to Konoha. He wanted it to happen. He wanted you guys to get the message. And I had a feeling that he could have just killed them with a snap of his fingers. As Kakashi watched as Naruto said something over his shoulder, he knew that I was about to stab him, but he still didn't kill me, she said. As Kakashi's hand shook, this wasn't a little bundle of happiness that he knew. This was a bitter, sadistic evil shadow of the child he used to visit every once in a while. He heard from the fort that the twins were killed, and he didn't question it. But something told him that only one of them had died. Naruko. It was very obvious that Naruto treasured her sister. Can I have a copy of this video? By all means, she said. I need to report this back to Minato sensei. As he took the tape of the video and rushed out of the palace. As he met up with his team, as all of them had grim expression on their masks after hearing what they heard. As they all headed back to Konoha. Meanwhile, the Sakai Kingdom, at the military bunker field. As Indra draw his giant cleave-hitting blade from his shoulder and holding his arms as sweat was on his brow. Looking across from him, Naruto was just standing there with a smile on his face. Make sure you don't hold back, Indra, said Naruto. I'll try my best, my lord. As the other division heads were sitting down, as they were here to witness their king battle, Indra blurred forward so quickly there was a black blur behind him. As Indra then appeared in front of Naruto and brought down his blade, the world started to slow down before everything stopped. As Naruto looked around, the dust in the air froze completely. As Naruto walked behind Indra and kicked him right in the back of the knees. As everything was still moving slow, Naruto then knocked him in the head. As Naruto then stepped back and blinked. The division head blinked when they saw. One moment Indra was about to come down on their king with his blade, and the next moment Indra was down on the ground. The only thing they saw was a red flash, and their king was standing above Indra. It wasn't that he was slowing down time, it was that he was able to see at an incredible fast pace. It was like time had stopped, but rather it was moving at a pace far slower than a crawl of a snail, and the eyes also allowed him ability to anticipate the move of his opponent, but that wasn't what he was using at the moment. As Indra got back to his feet, as Naruto motioned, come. If you wanted a practice dummy, then I would have gladly agreed to be that dummy, my lord, said Indra. As his pride was hurting, he got taken down in the blink of an eye. I apologize, Indra, but that was a quick eye check. No for a body check. Come. As you wish, my lord. As he rushed towards Naruto and slashed the head cleaver through the sky, tearing towards Naruto's left side. Naruto brought up his arm as the metal clashed against it, as sparks went everywhere, as Naruto's obsidian armor was incredibly durable. As he then stepped up from a palm strike and knocked Indra right in his stomach. As Naruto slid around Indra and knocked away his leg. As Indra fell down as Naruto grabbed his back and smashed him into the ground. As Naruto stepped back and dusted off his shirt. It seems I've still got it. As Naruto helped Indra back to his feet, as the man bowed his head in humility, while Naruto smiled. You did well. Thank you, sir. Go and get yourself fixed up. There's a love festival for you to celebrate. Indra nodded as Karen came down there and helped him towards the medical arena. As the others then came over as Mora bowed the others as well. What will you be doing next, my king? Asked Mora. I will be going towards the ground to perform a few personal missions. You do not want a guard detail? Mora asked. The missions I'm going to do are of the greatest importance, and I have to do them myself. That means I do not want a guard detail or any tail following me. Am I understood? They faltered nervously before they bowed their heads. Yes, sir. Good, I'll be leaving in a few minutes, but make sure my absence is not known. If anyone asks for me, just tell them I'm not around. Yes, sir. I am sure that you are all aware of the protocols. If I am not, function to lead. We are to all go about our functions until your return, my king, Hamato said in a low grunt, as he did not feel very happy that his king did not want anyone to assist him down to the ground. It was not that they doubted his skill at all. They knew that he was powerful than all of them, but they just want to make sure he was in good health at all time. You will all report back to me when I return. When will you return? UI Akiso asked. 6 days or so. Maybe sooner or later. I'm not very sure. I will relay any changes to my schedule to you, Hamato. Make sure my kingdom is still in one piece when I come back. We swear it on our life, my king, all of them said, as they placed their hands over their heart as they recite. We will defend the Sekai Kingdom with our life, as it was their sworn duty after all. Then I will see you all later, said Naruto, and with that he flew off. He wasn't going to use a royal vehicle to go down there. He was just going to fly down there. As he made his way towards the gate, as a few of his people saw him with smiles on their faces and waving to him as he waved back. Before he saw his driver as he told him that he would not be taking a car, as he descended down towards Earth. At the moment, they were currently floating over the Lightning Country, as Naruto landed very quickly, as he headed off towards Konoha. Time skip, day 1, 6 days left. Fire Country, the graveyard of Konoha. The Reaper Death Seal, one of the 2 existing seals that were able to seal away the tail beast, the strongest tail beast in 9 tails. There was also another seal, the Demon Beast, 14 chain shackles, which conjured 14 binders that will hold down all 9 tails of the beast. This was the safest one out of the 2, and it was passed down in the Uzumaki legends, as Mito Uzumaki was the first one to do this, by sealing the beast inside of her, when her husband, Hoshirama Senju, was fighting off against Madara Uchiha. Kushina Uzumaki was the second person to do this, to have this fox containing her with that seal. The sealer had to be awake, and the beast had to be sealed for 14 long days, and the person as well that the beast was being sealed into had to be awake. The world had watched the effect of that happening, as the fox left Mito and got sealed into Kushina. Steady madness slowly creeped into the person that got the seal out of them. So what would happen if the seal just got ripped out of them and the 14 shackles got broken rather violently? Terrible insanity. That is why Kushina Uzumaki, after fighting the 3rd Great Shinobi War and going on numerous missions that could break the mind of a normal person, lost her mind after the 9 tails was suddenly ripped out of her like that. As Minato did not know that seal, so he used the Reaper Death Seal, but before the God of Death could take his soul, the 3rd Hokage pushed him away. The Shinigami had been grateful to take Minato's soul, as Minato had created 2 powerful jutsus that made him be known as a legend through up to this day. And the Death God, he had his hand going forward, but then that old one jumped in the way, and he couldn't stop his hand, so he ripped away Hiruzen Sarutobi's soul. As a punishment for not getting the soul that he desired, that was Minato Namikaze, he made a vow that he would consume the soul of either children until he was satisfied with the soul that he wanted. This is why Minato didn't care when Naruko died, because being eaten by the Death God was more merciful than what would have happened if they had returned. As dark, Rinnegan eyes were currently in the cemetery looking at the grave of the 3rd Hokage. Konoha had a lot of people that frequently defied death, and it really annoyed the Death God. But the king needed to know who was at top of that list. He couldn't summon the Shinigami to ask, the price was too high, but he knew someone who could tell him all of that information. As Naruto turned his back to the 3rd Hokage's grave, as Naruto raised his hand, the ground started to shake. He had a clone at the east of the village, shaking it as well, so he wouldn't be alerted. As a creature started to rise up out of the ground as he lifted his hand. Summoning Jutsu, King of Hell, Naruto said under his breath. The King of Hell opened his mouth, revealing a frightening, capering maw. It had thick, sharp teeth, but inside was darkness, pure utter darkness. Naruto was not in the least bit intimidated by the sight. As he placed his right hand right on his stomach, a poof of smoke later revealed a white body bag, about the size of a 10-year-old child. As Naruto went down to his knees, he took in 3 breaths before unzipping the bag to see the face of his twin sister. As he gently reached down and took a strand of red hair over her ear, as tears started to leak from his eyes, as she was in a red dress with gold trimmings at the bottom, as there was bandage over her as well. Orochimaru and Kabuto did want to incinerate her body, but they decided to run experiments on her first. He recovered her body from Kabuto's section of the lab, ripped and devoid of all blood. It had taken him months to feed her his blood, because their godfather said that they were same blood type, and him stitching her body together. Only the division head knew that he was doing that, but all the people in the kingdom knew that their beloved king and the sister, who was killed by the slave monster. The eyes of the king of hell looked down on his master, just looking. Naruto picked up his sister and walked towards the king of hell. As he placed his sister on her back, he then stepped back out of the king of hell mouth. The king of hell then closed his mouth for a while until darkness started to gather above the king of hell, as Naruto saw those red eyes. The king looked up as he saw the eyes of the Shinigami looking down at him. 5 years ago, Naruto tried to use the outer path, heavenly life technique, to revive his sister, but the Shinigami had told Naruto his condition for him to release Naruko's soul. At that time, Naruto did not know many people that Shinigami would want to eat besides his father. Summoning the king of hell, it would rejuvenate the body, completely heal all wounds, as it would heal her body of all, any disease or anything, before placing her soul back inside. You can only have her soul back when you have the soul of one who frequently defies death. I will have his soul ready for you soon, said Naruto. As Shinigami just looked at Naruto. I cannot reap your soul because of your Rinnegan. You are very lucky, Naruto. Naruto knew that his eyes were special but have the ability to repel the dead god touch. You will give me my sister and I will find one of those who frequently defies death. You are one of them, just so you know. And I'm the only one that you will never get, said Naruto. The god grumbled sourly, like a pouting child. Bring me the soul, or you will never see your sister again. Fine, said Naruto, as the dead god disappeared. As Naruto's sister started to get healed inside the king of hell mouth. Though the process for this might take an hour, since Naruto commanded him to fix her body in perfect shape. But that was enough time that Naruto would need. As Naruto turned back to the third grave, soon I will have Naruko, and your sacrifice will be in vain, he said. As several poof of smoke happened, and several giant monkeys appear around the king of hell. All of them had his Rinnegan eyes that he could see through as well. As they all hid their presence, it was ironic that the summon of the third Hokage was some way contributing to the destroy of the village that they once served. The irony almost made her chuckle out loud. 3 minutes later, at Konoha Hospital, Senju Tsunade yawned loudly as she locked her door. Being the head doctor was very hard work, as she was in charge of everything to make sure everything went well. Today was hectic because Hanabi and Konohamaru had gotten into a vicious fight over some ridiculous playing cards. There were many casualties in the children wing because of the fight, but no one died, as Sasuke had gotten a major concussion from Minato Jr., as Guy and Osama had torn their calves while sparring. A few Jennies thought that it was a good idea to prank their teammate by pouring ghost peppers into her pants. Lastly, Kushina had stubbed her toe on the door as she entered Inuichi's office for a mental evaluation. Needless to say, Tsunade was regretting becoming the head medic, as Kushina was losing even more of her mind. The main reason why Tsunade was here was to look after her niece, Kushina. She looked up as a light flickered. Strange, she thought, but she shrugged it off as she started to make her way out of the hospital, already thinking about going to the bar. The building was fairly silent with just a few patients and her staff left. As she made her way outside and sighed deeply. Release, Tsunade said, as she cut the genjutsu that someone was trying to place on her, as she realized she was on top of the hospital empty roof, using a C-rank jutsu on someone like me. I must say I'm quite insulted, as the person had his back turned to her. And yet, you still went along with it, he said. Well, I want to see who had the balls to put the illusion over me, she said. I see. So, who the hell are you, she asked. I am an old member, he said. What's that supposed to mean, she said. Is it true that you enjoy lines, Tsunade, he asked. I don't know what you're talking about, no answer but he cut her off. A good poker face is a key to winning a game of cards, or so I've heard. And burying your fear, and all your guilt, and pain under a mountain of lie, is a good way to not worry about it. Is that so? Listen, whoever you are, if you don't start making sense now, I'm going to paint this roof with your blood. I just came to ask a few insane questions. After that, I'll leave you be. For now. I still don't know who you are, she said. And you will not find out for now, as he turned around, as she saw those eyes, just radiating power looking at her. First, we need to go somewhere. As she tried to move, but her entire body went limp and frozen. What the? There was a large poof behind her. Take her and follow me. as she was picked up by a beak, a large bird on the roof. As Naruto placed an illusion around him that he was a shooting star with a bird flying around him, as no one saw him kidnap Tsunade or steal the bird because he was using a high genjutsu to hide it. As he brought her out to the woods, she couldn't see his face fully because the place was dark even in the hospital. I will explain this as best as I can, he said. She was about to start to curse at him, but he held up a finger as her mouth shut, like he placed a hand over her mouth. I would appreciate it if you kept quiet. As the king of hell then rised out of the ground. But it was the back of his head, but there was a face there as well. On the other side, Naruko was being healed, as Tsunade saw the dark emptiness with nothing inside. If I ask you a question and you do not answer it, honestly, I will rip out your tongue and drag your soul to hell. This was to his advantage because he would get her memory that would add up to 2 stunning memories. As Tsunade was now shaking in fear, as to be plunged into eternal darkness as she could just see nothing but darkness in the mouth of that creature. If you answer my question with a question, your soul will go to hell. She swallowed thickly and closed her eyes tightly. If you answer my question cryptically or vaguely, then your soul will go to hell. Tsunade has never felt so scared in her life before, as it was just something that she's never experienced. This kind of fear, just looking into that empty darkness, made her felt like she was about to pass out. If you make light of the question I asked, then your soul will go to hell. If you don't answer me, your soul will go to hell. Do you understand? Suddenly, her mouth could open now. Yes, she whispered. Who are the strongest shinobis currently in this village, Konoha? Minato Namikaze, Shikaku Nara, Choji Akamichi, Mike Guy, and Asuma Sarutobi. Who are the strongest retired shinobi in the village? Name 5. The 3 council advisors to the Hokage, Koharu, Homura, Danzo, Mobuki, Haruno, and Fu Gomen, she's a farmer. Who amongst those 5 are the most scarred? Name 3. Scars meant that they had been in many dangerous scuffles, especially for a retired ninja. It didn't have to be physical, it had to be mental as well. Mobuki Haruno, Danzo Shimura, and Fu Gomen. Who amongst those 3 has refused to come for a regular checkup? Name 2. This shown stubbornness that they were unwilling to ask for medical help. Danzo Shimura and Fu Gomen. Who is the oldest between them? Danzo. How old is he? 73 years old. What rank would you give him based on his strength? Jonin rank, said Tsunade. Have you given him an axe for scan and why? Yes, and I want to know why a man as old as him would be in such good shape. Last question, in your opinion, how desperate is Danzo to stay alive? I can sense different chakra in him, mostly around his arms and his eye, but he has seals there to suppress them. I don't know exactly what they are, but with Danzo it is never good. Good, said Naruto. Now he had a target for one that refused to die. You see, it wasn't that hard now, was it? Tsunade's vision became hazy as she fell flat in her face. Time skip. Tsunade jumped up as she touched her body to make sure that she was alright, as there was a blanket over her. As she realized she was in the bed, as she clipped on her bedroom lamp. As she turned to see Shizune rush inside with a kunai. I thought I heard noise, said Shizune. Is something wrong, Lady Tsunade? No, it's fine, Shizune. It was just a bad dream. Go back to bed. Meanwhile, back to the graveyard, as Naruto was standing there with the King of Hell. Now I need to find out where Danzo lives so I can take him. As he snapped his finger, he had 2 spies in Konoha, and one of them was close to the old geezer. As he tapped the back of his hands, a red dot light up. As he dragged the red light to his pinky and tapped his ear, where a white earbud was. He closed his eyes. He went through his memory for the name of the spy that he wanted. It finally clicked as he spoke to the awaiting receiver. Patch me over to Sai, he said. Meanwhile, at the Haruno household. Ah, you must be my Sakura teammate, said Mobuki. Please, come in, she said. As both Sai and Minato took off their shoes, as they went inside. Can you and your friends help me set up for dinner? Asked Mobuki. Yes, mom, said Sakura. As Mobuki Haruno was a very beautiful woman. That was a fact in Konoha, with a heart-shaped face, lovely green eyes, and a cute butt nose, and lips that was always painted with a red lipstick, as she was a mistress of illusions as well. The shimmering pink flower was what they called her. She was a great jonin, even though ninjutsu wasn't much for her, and taijutsu was learned out of self-defense than anything, as she was never able to keep down a life partner. She never really focused on, well, relationship when she was an active kunoichi. She just had stress relievers. But Minato Namikaze was different though. In her eyes, he was a man that could do no harm, as she had gotten into many fights with Kushina, who was the better woman for him, until later, Kushina won. His marriage never stopped her shameless advantage though. Her image of Minato was destroyed though, when he had summoned her and a few others to his office, saying that they were going to be in a fake retrieval mission. Kidnappers that took his children, Naruto and Naruko. They were to try their best, but ultimately, they were going to fail. While in truth it was their godfather who took them to be Konoha best tools. His reason for this, he didn't even hide the venom that was welling up inside him then. He hated the both of them with a burning passion inside of him. Against popular opinion, Mobuki loved children. She had always wanted a child of her own, but Tsunade ruled out that prospect when she discovered her womb was damaged, as she didn't want to relive those memories, knowing what happened in the past. Because of what happened with Minato and that mission, she retired from being a kunoichi and became a civilian woman, where she found Sakura, yes, in an orphanage. A tiny little girl with pink hair and green eyes. The girl looked so much like her, she thought that the heavens had heard her cry and dropped down a child for her. Sakura was everything that Mobuki ever wanted in a child. She was smart, adorable and stubborn, like a rock, but only when it came down to living or dying. As her daughter became kunoichi of the year just like her, and Mobuki loved it. Even though she was not a prodigy, she was very smart. Mobuki came in the room holding a pot of gleaming ramen and roast pork meat. She was happy that her child was making friends, as he placed the pot down and started to serve them food. As she was like dancing, gliding around the table, sharing out the food, as she then spin on her heels and sit down, as Sakura cleared her throat. As Mobuki looked at her, as Sakura looked back at her. You know, Sakura, I enjoy eating food as well. As Sakura just looked back at her with a defiant stare. Fine, said Mobuki. I'll leave you three alone, she said. I will be busy organizing my underwear drawer. If anyone wants to join me, she said. Mom, Sakura screamed. As Mobuki chuckled, I was joking. She was about to leave when Minato Jr. spoke. Lady Haruno. Yes, Minato Jr., she said. Junior is fine, he said. Then please, call me Mobuki. Can I ask you some questions, asked Junior. But Junior, this is supposed to be a team dinner. No outsider, said Sakura. Don't mind her, she just salty that she hadn't hit her growth spurt yet. As Sakura simply huffed and turned her head, she would hit her growth spurt when she was good and ready, damn it. Is that so, said Sai. As a matter of fact, I know that something was wrong, but I didn't think that her lack of chest would be the problem. As Sakura glared at him with fire in her eyes as he chuckled. As Mobuki giggled. As Junior cleared his throat. Just a few questions. Ask away, she said as she sat down. He wasted no time. What happened 10 years ago on the mission he went with? Inoichi. He became Marino, the Hokage. Can I have the details, he asked. Is it true, and I quote, as he pulled the file and placed on the table, that you accidentally cast an illusion that went over Minato that threw off his aim? Well, she said. I'm sorry, I have an errand to run, she said, as she quickly left the room. As Minato Jr. narrowed his eyes. Was that guilt, he thought to himself. As Sai and Sakura looked over, as Naruto kept his eyes to where Mobuki was. Time skip. 2 hours and 20 minutes later, Forest of Death. Naruto was walking through the forest as a massive tiger, twice the size of any man, came forward. He simply looked towards the massive cat. It saw his eyes and ran away, like a scared like a cat. As he walked forward, all creatures ran away from him. As Naruto's eyes glowed in the dark, as he could see the nature chakra inside the trees, he could see everything. As he stopped in front of a tree, with no green light flowing. No nature energy, as he placed his right hand on it. As he pushed, there was a hiss as the tree fell apart, showing a wide cylinder, as a seal flared to life. As a massive ball of fire illuminated was a trap. It tried to swallow Naruto, but he held his hand forward, and he started to shrink and get smaller and smaller and smaller, until it was the size of a jutsu that his father created, something like that, but it was yellow. He pushed the ball forward as the seal finally gave out, as a door exploded out of the cylinder, as he looked down into the darkness. As the ball of fire was still there, as he tossed it straight down, as he lit up the darkness down below. As Naruto went down, as some poof appeared, with some long centipedes appear as well, surrounding the doorway. As he made his way inside, none of them would leave. Naruto didn't want any survivors. There was hundreds of ninjas down here waiting for him, as the ball of fire was still activated, lighting the way. Danzo Shimura, he hated this man. He was going to enjoy eradicating him. He always came to visit Orochimaru in the sun. The old man never forget to remind them that they would be the tool of the Hokage, which would be him very soon. As Naruto and Naruko hated the man with passion, because he always stood by and supervised their torture and their training. They also hate him because he discussed his plan of becoming Hokage. killing Minato if necessary. And that was their job. They want to kill their father, as he could sense all of the people down there waiting for him, as he knew about Root, and Sai was a member of this organization. It was a couple of years ago when he just lead the hidden sound in his slaves. He had just sent spies to all the main countries. He chose to use children because they would work their way up and gain the trust, gain a good root, and trust among their people. Sai and his other spy were silver rank, and they always wear their armor under their clothing to disguise looking at their skin. Yes, you remember exactly what he told the two loyal children when he sent them to Konoha. I want the both of you to be my eyes and ears in Konoha. I want you to gain trust among the people as much as possible. You will support each other and be friends with each other, but if this gets in the way, keep your association a close secret. Your allegiance to me is also supposed to be a secret. Are you both aware of what it will take to be my spies? Yes sir, the both of them said. We will not disappoint you. I trust that you will not. If there is any problem, do not hesitate to contact me or division heads. You understand, we will extract you if it gets too much. Yes sir, we understand. As he escorted them to the village and dropped the both of them into the orphanage. The other spy was the first to be adopted, and Sai was one of them that Danzo had gathered to become a root operative. Sai had disappeared from the radar for a few years, and his other spy kept him in touch about what happened. When Sai resurfaced, Naruto was made aware that Sai was in the root, and one of Danzo's 3 right-hand man. Why had Danzo brainwashing did not work on Sai? The reason was simple, as every one of Naruto's subordinates were loyal, and that kept his brain on track. But it's time that he finally ended Danzo's life, as Naruto made his way down, sensing the number of root ninjas all waiting for him. But guys, if you ain't subscribed right here, for the next part of this, know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notification to stay posted, and stay tuned for the rest of what is coming your way. But I'm out for now, see you guys soon, peace.